Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and thank you to Beth Sanders and Steve Schermerhorn for that fun rendition of Romamu.
And now let us welcome Shabbat as we sing together, Kiva Moed. Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Yalai Lalai. Singing together is not only a great way to welcome in Shabbat, it's also a wonderful way to relieve stress, to calm our nerves, to relax, and to find ourselves in the spirit of Shabbat. So let's do another. Let's sing together the Chadodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride.
La 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 la,
welcome once again, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our home. It's wonderful for us to be together, at least in this way, through the internet, to feel the sense of community, to connect with members of our congregation. I know a lot of us will chat during the service and send messages of Shabbat Shalom to congregants, and I encourage you to do that if you know how. Well, another big week has passed. So much is happening in the world. More racial strife sparked by the death of yet another black man at the hands of police, this time in Atlanta. And this in the week of Juneteenth, which is today, the 19th of June, a holiday marking the official end of slavery in our country, which finally came to Galveston, Texas, the last holdout with the arrival of Union troops in 1865. So many of us might have heard in passing of that name, Juneteenth, but had no idea what this holiday commemorates and celebrates. And with all this happening in the world, it's so much more on our minds, and this is a holiday that more of us will know about, and it will become, I believe, a very important commemoration annually for all of us. And if that's not enough, we had two landmark decisions handed down by the Supreme Court this week that provide new rights and protections for the LGBTQ community, and it's wonderful. So the broader theme of social justice is still very much on our minds and in our conversations this week, as it should be. Tonight we want to tackle another important topic of social justice, this time the problem of homelessness in our nation. We're going to do so later on in our service with a special program that we have prepared for you. Let us begin our service. If you don't have Shabbat candles ready, I encourage you to do so. If you don't have Shabbat candles, any candle will work. And as we're preparing to light our candles, we'd like to share with you a beautiful song. I believe a very prayerful song that touches upon these themes of social justice and fairness in our country.
Sometimes it's hard to be thankful for what you have, if it means that someone else won't have enough. Am I naive to want a world where things are equal, and each of us has everything we need? I can't ignore all the pain and strife around me. Turn the volume down, pretend that it's not there. For we are all made in the same holy image. So when one is hurt, we all have weight to bear. Am I asking for too much for the world to be more fair, when we were taught that we all started out that way? I don't think we're too far gone to begin to put things right, so that our children will come to find a better way. Across this nation there's so many who are suffering, so many faces, some are young and some are old. And there's the innocent, the children, they're our future. Yes, there's more than just one story to be told. What would this world be like if we took time to listen to the story that our neighbor has to tell? Perhaps we'd come to know what we all have in common, to begin to put things right so that our children will come to find a better way. Am I asking for too much for the world to be more fair when we were taught that we all started out that way? I don't think we're too far gone to begin to put things right so that our children will come to find a better way.
Now let us light our candles and sing together the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue with the call to worship, the Baruch.
For those who are following, we're on page 3. Baruch hu et Adonai
Savta, which we just sang in that beautiful melody in English. And what I love about it is that it stresses the theme of love. Our relationship with God in Jewish terms is a relationship of love. And how do we show our love for God? By following in the commandments, by loving our fellow human beings, not only Jews, but neighbors, friends, people of all races, all ethnicities. And it also reminds us that the mitzvot, the commandments, are not just something that we do in synagogue and not just something that we do in our homes. What does the prayer say? When we lie down, when we rise up, when we go out, when we walk by the way, we bring these commandments, we use them as a force for good in the world, a transformative force to fix all the problems that we face. Our Torah portion this week, Shlach Lecha, is the story, at least in part, of 12 spies, 12 scouts that are sent by Moses into the promised land to come back and bring a report. What will we find in that land? 12 scouts that go and look at the land and come back. And 10 of them come back with a negative report. They say it's a good land, a fertile land, but that the people there are giants. They're going to crush us. And they say we were like grasshoppers in their eyes. Of course, really, it's in their own eyes, their own feeling of inferiority, that feeling of being small. 2 of the spies come back with a positive report. They say it is a land flowing with milk and honey, and all they see is promise. There's so much that we could learn from this portion that we can talk about self-perception, about peering into the future, about the realm of possibility. And if we see ourselves as incapable of bringing change, incapable of making peace, incapable of solving the problems that face us, then nothing will happen. But if we go forth with hope, and the kind of hope I talked about last week, the kind of hope that has agency, that we put our right foot forward and we work to make peace, we work to bring change, we work to bring equality, then when we do that, we push the world that much closer to the vision of what we hope to find in the promised land. Shabbat,
השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת, שבת וינפש ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת לעשות, את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
We continue with the Amidah. Tonight we invite you to pray the Amidah on your own, either silent or out loud. Or if you wish, take a few moments for your own silent reflection. Turn inward to your own heart and to your own mind. Think about your week. Think about the blessings that fill your life. Think about the problems in the world and how you can put your best foot forward to help be a part of the solution.
Nachamu.
As I mentioned in the beginning of our service, tonight we want to talk about the issue of homelessness. It's a difficult topic because it makes so many of us feel uneasy. We frown at the sight of homeless people sleeping in our streets or at freeway underpasses or in vacant lots. We're frightened or angered by panhandlers who approach our cars, come up to us on the street asking for a handout. Sometimes we turn our gaze and we walk away or we cross the street to avoid them. Sometimes we pretend we don't see them. I would argue we don't see them, myself included at times, because we don't acknowledge their basic humanity. We fail to find compassion in our hearts because we don't think about them as someone's child, someone's brother or sister, someone just like us, whose life unfortunately took a wrong turn, often through no fault of their own. So the first thing we need to do is to change our perception, to clear our vision, to look and to listen more closely. We were chatting about the service, and our son Ari said he has a perfect song that he could sing. And when he told us what it was, both Lindy and I were puzzled. Not because we didn't know the song, we have both heard it hundreds of times, but because we had never really listened to the words to hear its message. And he was right. It is a perfect song because it addresses homelessness in an interesting way. So we're inviting Ari to come on camera and sing it now. And I ask you to listen carefully to what the song is saying.
She calls out to the man on the street, "Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I've nowhere to sleep. Is there somewhere you can tell me?" He walks on, doesn't look back. He pretends he can't hear her, starts to whistle as he crosses the street, seems embarrassed to be there. Oh, think twice, it's just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, it's just another day for you, you and me in paradise. Just think about it. She calls out to the man on the street. He can see she's been crying. She's got blisters on the soles of her feet. She can't walk, but she's trying. Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you, you and me in paradise. Just think about it. Oh, Lord, is there nothing more anybody can do? Oh, Lord, must be something we can say. You can tell from the lines on her face. You can see that she's been there, probably been moved on from every place, 'cause she did Just think about it. Just think about it. Just think about it. Just think about it.
The following are 3 true stories. Renee DeLise was one of over 3,500 homeless people in Santa Cruz when she found out she was pregnant. The Santa Cruz Sentinel reported she was turned away from a shelter because they did not have space for her. While other homeless people slept in cars or under culverts, Renee ended up living in an abandoned elevator shaft until her water broke.
Jerome Murdaugh, 56, a homeless former Marine, was arrested for trespassing in New York because he was found sleeping in a public housing stairwell on a cold night. The New York Times reported that 1 week later, Jerome died of hypothermia.
Paula Korb and her 2 daughters are typical of families with children who are down on their luck. They lost their homes and have lived in their minivan for 4 years. They do laundry in a church annex, use the bathrooms at gas stations, and do their studies under street lamps.
You know, so many people hold the perception that most homeless people are alcoholics or drug addicts or mentally disturbed. Yes, there is a high rate of all these things in the homeless population, but that doesn't tell the whole story. They are people just like you and me, with dreams and aspirations of living good lives, raising families, enjoying the security of a roof over their heads, food on the table, and loving relationships. And then something happened that changed the course of their lives. The stories are different, of course, for there are so many causes that potentially lead someone to become homeless. For some, it's the loss of a job. For others, it's a broken or abusive relationship, or a bout of depression, or the steep cost of affordable housing, or a business that failed. Here are some facts about homelessness in America that we need to hear and understand.
Fact 1. Over 500,000 people are homeless. On any given night, there are over 600,000 homeless people in the U.S. Most of these people are either spending the night in homeless shelters or in some sort of short-term transitional housing. Slightly more than a third are living in cars, under bridges, or in some other way living unsheltered.
Fact 2. 1/4 of homeless people are children. The National Center for Homeless Education reported that there are over 1 million homeless children in public schools. There are over 3,000 functionally homeless children in San Joaquin County alone.
Fact 3. Tens of thousands of veterans are homeless. Over 57,000 veterans are homeless each night. 60% of them are in shelters and the rest unsheltered. Nearly 5,000 are women.
Fact 4. Domestic violence is the leading cause of homelessness in women. More than 90% of homeless women are victims of severe physical or sexual abuse, and escaping that abuse is the leading cause of their homelessness.
Fact 5. Many people are homeless because they cannot afford rent. The lack of affordable housing is a primary cause of homelessness. It even affects those who work. In California, Assembly Bill 3300, which is expected to come up for a vote this week, would set aside $2 billion annually to shore up units for low-income families, offer rent assistance, and provide support services for unsheltered Californians. It's a much-needed step in the right direction.
Fact 6. California has the highest rate of homelessness. California, the most populous state in the nation, saw the largest spike in its homeless population with an increase of 21,306 people in 2019, which was more than the total national increase of every other state combined. The current total number of homeless in California today exceeds 150,000.
Fact 7. 1 in 5 homeless people suffer from untreated severe mental illness. While about 6% of the general population suffers from severe mental illness, 20 to 25% of the homeless population suffer. Half of this population self-medicate and are at further risk of addiction and poor physical health.
Fact 8. Cities are increasingly making homelessness a crime. A 2014 survey of 187 cities by the National Law Center on Homelessness and Poverty found that 24% make it a citywide crime to beg in public, 18% make it a crime to sleep anywhere in public, 43% make it illegal to sleep in your car, and 53% make it illegal to sit or lay down in public places. And the number of cities criminalizing homelessness is steadily increasing.
Thanks, guys, for helping to share all these important facts and for doing so with so much strength and conviction. In the book Deuteronomy, it says that if there is a needy person among you, do not harden your heart and shut your hand. Rather, you must open your hand and lend them sufficient help for whatever they need. You know, we often speak of the biblical command to clothe the naked and to feed the hungry, to care for the widow and the orphan. But it's clear that not enough of us have heard this call, and that our nation and our society, as it's structured today, allows too many to fall through the cracks. The pandemic, which we are experiencing now, will no doubt add exponentially to the problems of homelessness, as many businesses will not survive, and so many people, therefore, will be out of work. The government subsidies for those lucky enough and savvy enough to get them have helped, but no one can predict what the long-term effects will be as the funds are depleted. You can bet that many who were financially secure before the pandemic will end up homeless. It's obviously no fault of their own. So what can we do? Well, first of all, continue to educate yourself about the problems of homelessness and share what you know with family and friends and neighbors. If we want to move hearts, to make meaningful change, we have to know what we are talking about. Next, support legislation as it is introduced that addresses the issues of housing and homelessness. Our elected officials will only act if we know we care. Also, get involved or lend financial support to organizations locally and nationally that address the needs of the homeless. Volunteer or make a donation to St. Mary's Dining Room or the homeless shelter, both right here in Stockton. Join Temple Israel in getting involved with Family Promise of San Joaquin County, an amazing interfaith network whose goal is to serve homeless families with children, to secure employment, and transition to stable housing. In fact, there is actually something that you can do this weekend with an initiative called Night Without a Bed. Family Promise is asking people to shine a light on homelessness by spending the night, tomorrow night, Saturday night, somewhere other than your comfortable bed. It's one small thing that we can do to begin to make a difference. Here's a short video clip that tells us more. hope that you were moved by that, and I hope that you will consider doing something, getting involved in some small way, participating tomorrow night by sleeping. You don't have to be outside if that's uncomfortable, maybe on your couch. Let us continue now with the Mishaberach, our prayer for health and for healing, for friends and family who are ailing, who need our help, who need our strength, and who need our prayers for a refuah shlema, for a full and speedy healing. This week we pray especially for Eliyahu HaKohen Ben Lila, Diane Dakin, Samantha Porteous, Patty Sines, Craig Corin, Sally Glick, Rebecca Decker, Randy Watkins, Betty Morgan, Sidra Goldsmith, Paul Fairbrook, Ron and Margaret Ray, Gabrielle Lopez Smith, Ira Abramson, Lynn Martucci, Bradley Cantor, Lori Silvaggio, Dana Glazier, Jackie Burke, Danny Rachman, Rebecca Williams, Bert Carlson, Ricardo Holbrook, Heidi Kranz, Philip Blair, Andy Bernhard, Jeanette Saphir, Todd Berry, Pete and Gloria Campos, Marcia Davidson, Elizabeth Lowy, Al Aronofsky, Rona Levy, Harry Harris, and Alma Nelson. And I invite you to say aloud the names of your family and friends who are ailing, who you would like to include in the prayer. And if you like, maybe go ahead in the chat and write their names as we join together in singing our Mishaberach prayer.
We're on page 8.
Those names mentioned aloud, those of us here and at home who are in need for these same blessings of refuat hanefesh and refuat haguf, for healing of mind and body and spirit. Baruch atah Adonai rofeh hacholim, blessed are you, O God, who heals the sick. Amen.
Amen.
Now we continue on page 9 with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula leotzeh breshit, shelo asanu ki goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar Before we conclude our service, as we do each week, we take a quiet moment, a reverent moment, to remember with love our loved ones who are no longer physically present in our lives, but whom we carry in our hearts and in our minds, and so in a very real way, they continue to carry and to bless us. This week we remember these friends and family members who are in the 30-day period, the Shloshim, and in the 1-year period, the Shana period of mourning. Remember with love Joe Delgado, Ted Kalo, Ingrid Epstein, Ronald Mendlin, Diane Ginn, Darylyn Halpern, Bill Schwartz, Sue Solomon, Joan Free Thor, Florence Guasdoff, Dennis Willens, John Guerin, Bill Long, Leonard Colber, Mel Halpern, Andy Heisler, Clay Utterback, Richard Ripkin, Archie English, Carol Blumenthal, Linda Sue Morgan Ray, Jerry Yeeses, Pablo Carmona Cruz, Oren Kabacher, Barbara Navarrete, and Charlotte Constant. And we remember as well these loved ones who have a yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death sometime in the week ahead. With love, we remember Jeanette Bay, Lotta Fairbrook, Sam Fields, Ann Corin, Barbara Swan, Rachel Klebansky, Bess Larson, Leda Plotkin, Leo Lilienstein, Walter Larson, Tasha Statner, and Donald Kramer. Zichronam Livracha, may all of them be for a source, a never-ending source of strength and blessing. And we remember as well the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust, so many leaving no one to remember them, no one to say Kaddish for them. So we take them into our hearts along with our own loved ones who have died, and in their memory we join together in Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'yama divra chivutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon, u'b'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'vizman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah v'barach le'olam u'lamei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiram v'yama v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, v'yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort to all the bereaved among us. And let us sing.
Amen.
Amen.
And we want to thank Karma for getting our Shabbat Siddur prepared and into our computers. And thank you to Ari for all your talent and again helping us with the service this evening. And to Jory and Courtney who joined us with their voices. We're so excited about that. We look forward to seeing all of you, or as many of you as possible, participating in a night without a bed. Here's a little sneak peek of our personal tent.
As Heschel said, when I marched in Selma, I felt like my feet were praying. Well, we might not be in Selma. We're here in our backyard with this tent, but we're doing something important.
We're working with Family Promise to bring shelter to the homeless here in Stockton. We're shining a light on the issue of homelessness right here and around our country. Join us.
Now let's join together in a closing song. Oh, say shalom b'chroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ye'imru, amen. Oh, say shalom b'chroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ye'imru, amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Have a great weekend and a great week.